This is crazy. This truck, the infotainment center is still active. And if I turn up my phone, the radio starts playing. So now I'm kind of worried that I've been yabba-dabba doing and the Bluetooth has interfered with me talking. I learn the hard way is if I go in the house and be in the house for a little while, I'm better off closing this front door because otherwise one of the joggers goes down the street and the dogs go nuts and everyone runs out the front door. Well, howdy doody, I'm back. The camera looks like it's got something on it. Well, howdy doody, I'm back. You know what I'm going to do? I need to cut the grass, but I want to fix a meal. So I'm kind of in a quandary here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a meal. Then I'm going to let it simmer while I cut grass and cool down. Then I know it's 7:30 tonight, I can eat a meal. So I think I can cook this in about 30 minutes. What are we doing? Chili. Chili is the what's for dinner tonight? Beef. Chili. So I got all my condiments here. Got my meat. And I got my salt, because I'm going to salt the meat. I've got my butter, which I melt in the skillet. And then I chop up my nice Vidalia onions. And let those kind of simmer and cook. And once that gets kind of all nice and really well cooked, I throw the meat in, and then I cook the meat really well. And then what I do is I drain the oils over here in my sink with a pan. I put a pan under it so it doesn't go into the septic system of oils. And then I throw the meat back into the pan. And then what I do is I add my sliced tomatoes, my red kidney beans, and my black beans. And I get those in and kind of start feeling out what makes sense. 2 cans, 1 can. And then I add my cumin. And I add my chili powder. And let it simmer more. And then I get my Heinz apple cider vinegar. And I don't put a lot. It's a real fine line there. It's too much or too little. So then I let this all cook in, ingredients cook in. And like I say, then I can pretty much just turn this off, keep the cover on it, keep the dogs out of the house. They don't try to get into this. And then that's going to kind of cool down a little bit, and it gets even more flavor. And I'll come back in, and I will have a nice meal with either my Tostitos or my scoops. And I'll put some sour cream. I forgot to get shredded cheese, but you know what I've noticed, when you just have a sour cream and chili, it doesn't feel as heavy when you put the cheese on there. So I did forget that. I can always tell the wife she's going by the store coming home. She wants that. She can stop by and get that. But that's what's for dinner, everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and start making that and share with you my process. And maybe it helps you make a nice meal of your chili. You may have your own recipe. That's my recipe. So follow me along and you'll see a nice meal made right in front of your eyes. Got the butter all nice and melted. Now I'm going to dump the onions in right now so the onions start cooking separate from the meat. I have got some chillin' dogs. I have not eaten anything all day today except one banana, half a banana. So it's already close to 5 o'clock. Does my body feel it? Yeah. Yeah, you have that feeling just, your body goes into limp node, kind of. See there. And got the fan on because it's warm in here. That's what I was saying. That air conditioning unit is definitely will be probably really appropriate over in that corner over there. I think that would be good, or I don't know, bring it over here, whatever. So, but that's tomorrow's project. I ain't screwing with that today. Let's see here. To really get the onions to really get nice and savory and cooked. Then I throw the meat in, and then I start seasoning it with the salt. And then I use this here to really chop the meat up to get it smaller. And that one onion, as you can see, really has done a great job on this size pan to do this. So now I'll kind of stir it up. And just want to get a little more cooked in there. I love onions myself. big onion fan. Everybody has their own little secrets of how they make their own chili. And that's my secret that you're looking at right now. Now, what are the odds that the dogs park themselves right in front of my cooking area? All right, so let's see how we're doing here. I think I'm gonna start adding the meat. Yeah, that's looking really good. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm starting out adding the meat. Now, I just start chopping this up into little pieces. And once I've got that chopped up, I'll add the salt. And the good news is I was able to get all the meat out of the bag without touching my hands. Nothing worse than having your hands covered in meat. Your hands are all slimy. If you really do it right, you wear gloves. Disposable cooking gloves. If you really want to be really concerned about all the red meat that gets into your skin. It's like a film, like an oil. It's very hard to get off. So I lucked out on that. So now what I'm going to do is add the salt, because I have a lot of the meat still up top here to get to it. So I'm going to put that down. I'm going to start salting it. So I just salted the heck out of it. I mean, the dirty secret is salt. Salt does miracles for meat. And but as you know, it's a lot of sodium. So some people are very sensitive to that, but I salt the heck out of it that way. It just gives it more flavor. I think it cooks better, more tender. So now what I'll do is I'll go back in. I'll kind of continue to chop this up just to kind of get it so when the meal is finished, you won't have like clumps of meat like you're eating a meatball dinner. You're eating more refined meat that's all kind of just ground up to a degree. That's why it's seriously really good tool, because it doesn't harm the bottom of the skillet. The rubberized type of way you do this, and I'll kind of flip it and blah blah blah. What's nice now is the back deck is very, very hot, so it really would not be enjoyable to be outside right now. It's just too hot. So this here, now you kind of start working in your onions, because that really gives it that really special flavor, I think. I think that really helps this. And believe it or not, I just took it upon myself to kind of I never read like a recipe like this. I just kind of created my own little way to do it, and I know everybody has their own way to do it, but I think this here is probably the most common to a degree. I don't think people use the butter and the onions like I do, though. That's what I think is kind of different. I don't know if they salt the meat that much, but I'm sure everybody uses the cumin, the chili powder, the apple vinegar cider, and then the red beans, black beans. Some I only just prefer, and then I put the diced tomatoes in too. I put the big and small, the petite and the full size. Like I said, I just keep on pounding away here to just really get this meat really, so it's really chopped up really good. And then I'll let this simmer a little bit, and once I see the meat kind of get really nice and brown, you can see there's a lot of oil in this. So next thing I'll do is I will, a little trick that I have as well, which is kind of cool, is I take the 3 cans of product over here, the black beans, the red beans, and the tomatoes, and I drain those into that strainer, and I leave those in there, and then I dump all the oil and meat into that strainer. That way when I flip over the strainer, all that's already into the product, and then I make the decision how much more product I need, and do I leave the juices in the can to go in here along with this, or do you drain it so it's a much drier type of chili? And that's something you got to think about. If you want a dry chili, then draining this, and then on top of that, don't use the liquids in the cans, and you get a much better, a much less runny type of chili. And now I'm going to cover this up, and as I say, so now I go over here, and I'm going to start draining these cans, 1 can of each, And so it'll be a much drier type of, not as liquid a chili, unless I want to add more cans and use the liquid with the can. We'll evaluate. I wish all the guys did this. Just make a top, like a drink, where you just flip it and you don't have to use a can opener. I mean, why don't more of them do that? Hello. And as I was just saying, see, they got liquid in that can. So I think some people put the liquid in with the chili, which there isn't anything really wrong with that, but I think the big difference is you're adding more liquid to the to your meal, and I think it's going to be more runny. Your apple vinegar cider will give you some liquid in there as well. So we'll evaluate if we need to do the liquids with the chili as it cooks. We'll put initially the 3 cans, 1, 2, 3 cans in, and see, do we need 4, 5, or 6 cans. Now, you can already see this thing's cooking really well. See that? See how all the oils are coming up, rising up? Which that's good. So I'm going to tame this down a little bit because I can get my cans over here opened up with my handy dandy can opener. And once again, you see, you've got all this, fluid. You got more fluid here. So, once again, that's the way I do it. You may use the fluid. I don't want to right now. I'll evaluate that as I cook it. So now we're to the black beans. Right here, and I need 2 hands to operate this. And once again, see that? So it really comes down to what your preference is. You want a really runny type of chili, or you want more of a dry? So now, kick that around. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a pan to put underneath here so it catches the oils. Now here's the pan. I'll get it up underneath here, and that way you'll catch all the oils that I want going into my septic field. So as you can see, there's the pan. Now it's over here. I think it's time for me to go ahead. See, most of the oils have come up, and nothing's sticking on the bottom. And so I think we're good to go to dump this now. It takes 2 hands. We're going to do that. So now, as this drains out, you can see that? So we got rid of that. Now I bring the pan back over. I'm going to flip it, and I already have all the material that'll be on top. Then I start stirring it in, and I start adding my seasoning, and then evaluate if I need more product over there. So now, here we go. Here, I need to switch hands. Around my righty. Righty. So now see here. So now you can see this is a very dry chili. So the way you make this a little bit more savory is, as I say, we take now, and you'll see when I add these juices, you're going to see on how this now will add some more flavor to this and a little bit more juice. So let's see right now. Let's take the red beans and let's open that up. Can I do it one-handed? I don't think I can. Put you on hold. So now, here's the juices. Now this here, give this more material. And it really is going to make, I think, this a little bit more enjoyable. So now let's go open the can opener. All right, now, black beans. And see, my feelings are, if you dump all the material from all cans, I think it just gets too watery. So that's what I say. I just think you kind of evaluate as you make this, and you can see it's still not too watery, so I'm glad about that. We're definitely getting a little more liquid. And I'm going to put some more tomatoes in here, and I think this is going to be really good proportions here on being a really good chili meal. And the thing is, chili's always better the next day. That's my own feelings. And here we got more. So now we got the small potatoes, or small potatoes. Small, the petite, and the regular size cut. I thought for a minute I didn't have any of this. I'm thinking, oh man, I freaking totally screwed up. I didn't get all my ingredients. I'm stepping over the dogs. So now I'm going to stir this in. Once I stir it in, I'm going to add my cumin, I'm going to add my chili powder, and I'm going to add my apple vinegar cider, which that's to me is a really fine line on how much you put in. You're better to be less than more at first. You can always add more. Once you add too much, it's over. Okay, so let's now see here. I'm going to stir this in. So now when I get my ingredients in, so they start blending in with the meats. And it's kind of me on the cumin. I don't mind it. I mean, there's definitely a fine line of really what your portions are. But I just kind of start, see that fan over there, just sprayed that all into my eyes, believe it or not. But it's so, see that, look at that, that fan's really, I just kind of guess it. Probably put too much, but oh well. So then I take that. Now this one's brand new, I'm going to have to open it up. Same thing, that fan, I should go turn that fan the other way, but same thing, throw some chili powder in there. And then what I do, I'll take this apple cider vinegar, if I can open it with one hand, and I'll just put, initially I'm not going to put a lot. That's about it. I think that's plenty for me. You can really smell it too. So now I take my tool and I work it in, and I just go by guesstimation. I'm not reading a recipe book and how many ounces of meat, how many, teaspoons of cumin, the hot chili or the chili pepper or the salt. I just all guesstimate it and eyeball it. And so now you can see this is all kind of coming together. And you can see now you're starting to get a little bit more of that chili sauce or chili liquid, but not radical. And the best thing you do now is really you just cover the pan up and let it just kind of, don't have it too hot. Just have a nice medium low temperature. You just let that cook for the next hour, especially on low. And that's really going to I think be really, really good. Now it's all about cleanup. That's the whole next project. Yummy, yummy. Smells really good. I told you, it took me a little over 30 minutes to make this, but I've been videoing. If I wasn't videoing this is about a 30-minute preparation. It's not bad at all. And if you take the time to clean up as you work, it's huge. So like I say, the smartest thing I can do is put this thing on low and just now let this simmer. My wife won't get home probably till 6:30, quarter to 7. And that gives me time to make a decision, go cut grass, whatever I also want to get my project on. And as I say, just to come now, I'll just kind of leave the top off a little bit just to kind of let it cook and not burn up. That's the thing. I don't want it to get too hot. So there it is. And then I'll share with you the end product later when we put it on the plate and put some chips and sour cream around it, and it'll be delicious. Got our nice bowls and plate here set out, and I'm not putting anything else out because these guys here will start smelling things and get their idea of eating my food. Now let's see what's interesting here. Where is... That's great. I love that. I love that. So this room here, no, don't do that, Ty. This room here has central air conditioning, so that damn thing's gonna fall down. I can already see that. Oh, it just doesn't end, everybody. Jesus. All right. So the goal is for dogs to like their crates, and all right, I'm gonna shut up. Well, one thing about hearing aids, everybody, hearing aids, they're never-ending changing batteries. And I do know that they do have wireless, or I should say battery-free hearing aids, but it's a 5-year increment now before I can get new hearing aids without me having to buy them outright on my own. So what happens is this little battery goes dead, and where to go? So right now I can't really hear that well because my hearing aids are gone. dead. And so I know people think, well, you can get the ones that charge in a tray at nighttime. Yeah, I know, you can. But do you want to give me $5,000 or $3,000 or $2,000 to buy them? Because used to be every 3 years, Blue Cross Blue Shield, our health care plan would reimburse me for any hearing aid purchases. That's a 3-year time frame. Now it's a 5-year time frame. So I don't think it's till this fall that I have availability to upgrade my hearing aids. And yeah, I probably will go to the charging ones over the battery ones. Because the battery ones, they're never ending changing batteries out. And you don't want the dogs to eat these things. Oh, it'll drive you nuts. It just drives you nuts, people. Some dumbass decided to redesign these packaging. It just drives you nuts. Drives you nuts. Used to be able to just little area I know they show the scissors. I think these engineers had too much time in their hand. I think really to ensure their job security, they just re-engineer something that doesn't make it better, it makes it worse, but it's job security. I can guarantee I'm right. And engineers just re-engineer something not to make it better. It's just so they can say they did something, but they're asshats. Yep, it's pretty incredible how deaf I have become because, wow. And here's the next project. When you take these little battery things, this here covers the battery so that it doesn't have oxygen to it. So once it's exposed to the air, it then is now live. But this little sticky thing comes off, and what happens is these little things, you can find these things everywhere. So you take it off, you try to get away from your hand. It's like right now, see this little thing here? Now if you're not careful, so you have to find something to stick it on. You can find these little sticker things everywhere. Find it in my truck, you'll find it. It's just all right. Now, with my big fat ass hands, trying to get this stuff to go in is not easy. But it's a huge difference of how I hear. Without these hearing aids, I am just borderline deaf. All right. I'm back. Yeah. What a day. My body, is not in the... It's just like, man. It's just one of the days. It's gone. So I'm just chilling out now. Wow, so Bob in Melbourne, Bob and Terry just gave me a $25 tip. Wow. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, that is so nice of you guys. One of the things for sure, if you lived up in the area, it'd say, come on by and I'll fix you a meal. But that's so nice of you guys. Thank you very much. That's very generous of you, and I don't want to have to beg for money, but I do appreciate everybody that here lately has been throwing a bone to me because I'd like to make my channel successful, everybody. That's my goal. So once again, thanks so much. And tell Stormy, I'm thinking about Stormy. They get the greatest dog. If you're on Facebook, you'll see their Doberman Pinscher, beautiful dog, and thank God it beat cancer challenges. So, and she just had a birthday. So happy belated birthday to Stormy. Thank you, Bob and Terry. I hope you're having a blessed day down there in Florida. You got do you know about the big dust storm that's coming through? Yeah, there's a major Sahara Desert dust storm, I believe, coming your way. It comes through the Florida Gulf area every year, but just be aware of that. If you start hacking and sneezing, and maybe your eyes are running, or they just say that this dust storm was going to irritate a lot of people while little particles in the air. So hope you'll be all right now. Or maybe it's further south and it won't get you. I'm fine. I made you a nice chili dinner.
Oh, really? Okay, well, I'm leaving here in the next couple of minutes.
All righty. See you shortly.
Sounds good.
Now, if you want shredded cheese, I forgot to get that. So if you want shredded cheese, we have sour cream. But if you want shredded cheese, you'll have to stop by and get some.
No, I'm fine with just sour cream.
And we have scoops and Tostitos.
Oh, that sounds great. Okay, I'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
There you go. Happy life. Happy life. We try. Well, after a hard day's work, What do you have? You have some Pinnacle Vodka, 100 proof, Simply Lemonade, and you patiently wait for your chili. The chili, so see how it's really absorbed a lot of those juices. So that's pretty cool. Wife's en route home, and we'll probably eat about 6:30. And I've just decided to chill out. My body's saying just take a chill pill, Iceman. That's what I'm doing. The dogs are doing great. It's nice and cool in here. The fan's helping tremendously. And as I say, the dogs are all happy and content. So it's just time to have a drink and say cheers to all those that watch my show, my channel. And thank you so much for all the support. I'll show you the last picture. Will be the final serving. I'll do that when it's all ready to go, which will be a little later. And as always, I say cheers. Thanks so much for keeping my channel going with your support. That makes a huge difference, so thanks so much. Time to have a little sip, wait for the wife to get home, and just have a nice chill evening is my goal. And I'm uploading videos now instead of later, so you get to see the videos for the day. Won't be as many, but at least you won't be waiting until midnight to see my videos. So I'm working on that right now.